Hey vlog. Today I wanted to film an FAQs video, frequently asked questions when it comes to marine science. I've done one of these before. Go back and check it if you haven't watched. But I want to do it again with some more questions to things that I've literally already recorded on other platforms. I just want to literally just stitch it together here. Hopefully this is helpful for people at all career stages, whether you are in high school, already in college, university, or if you're even working a job in a completely different unrelated field but still have interest in marine science. So all of these questions have been answered on other platforms and are listed as like frequently asked question highlights on those platforms, but I wanted to bring them over here and just stitch them all in one like 20-minute-ish long YouTube video for you to watch. So hope this helps. Let me know what you think about it in the comments, if I should continue to do FAQs or if you actually prefer more of like the vlog style type videos or me just chatting about life. Let me know. Okay. Most recently asked questions I've been seeing on my page. As a full-time marine science graduate student, where do I go to school? I studied my undergrad degree at Hampton University. In grad school, I went to Oregon State University, which is where I still go. What do I study? I studied marine and environmental science in undergrad with minors in both biology and Spanish. I minored in biology mainly because I had no idea I was going to do this type of career when I went to college. I thought I was going to be a medical doctor, and I was studying biology on a pre-med track. Realized I didn't like it and changed my major sophomore year to marine and environmental science, but I took so many classes that it worked out where I could just take a couple more and get the minor. And then in grad school, I studied fisheries science. Another big question I get is that I didn't grow up around the water or the ocean. Can I still do this? Absolutely yes. I grew up like you had to drive a few hours to get to the closest beach, but I ended up moving out of state for undergrad, and I moved out of state or across the country for grad school. So if you're open to travel and moving around, it's definitely feasible for you. I also applied for a lot of scholarships and a lot of funding opportunities in both undergrad and grad school. And that's actually a skill you're definitely going to want to build if you come into this field. People really like it if you know how to apply for money and actually get money. So that's like a really good career skill to have. I get a lot of really good questions about how much time I spend in the lab or in the field or behind a computer, and it varies. My personal situation is that I have a field-based project where I do have to go out in the field at least 1 to 2 months out of the year. And then I bring those samples back home to a lab and work on those samples for a few months, and then spend the rest of my time actually analyzing that data and then sporadically traveling throughout the year for conferences, presentations, networking opportunities, etc. Now, this is not true for everyone in this field. It really depends on the type of project you do. It really depends on the type of research you're interested in. What do I major in? While picking a major like marine biology, marine science, something like that is great, realistically not every school offers that as a major. I was super fortunate where we had like a marine science option, but in my lab now I work with students that have never majored in anything marine bio related whatsoever. Obviously, having a really good STEM background is important. If you have a background in any science, math, I think you are good. If you're interested in pursuing grad school and specializing more in like the marine biology world. So honestly, I would recommend majoring in anything sciencey that you can. Definitely take like statistics, math, biology courses just to build your background. Look for research opportunities. And when you're close to finishing, start looking into grad school opportunities that are a little bit closer to what you are interested in. I get this question a lot. Where's the best school to study marine biology? And honestly, school doesn't really matter if you're interested in the research. learning like who is actually working at the school and who's working there is better. If you're interested in like studying sea turtles, looking for the best sea turtle biologists and trying to work with them would be best. It doesn't really matter what school they're at, to be honest. Most of the scientists you see in the marine biology, marine science field don't actively work in the ocean. A lot of the work nowadays is done through modeling work, statistical analyses, lab work, where a lot of those people have never gotten on a boat, are not scuba certified, and some people still do field work, but work in areas that are extremely shallow. Like they may only need to go into like tide pools, which doesn't require any swimming whatsoever. Like you just walk up to them. So do you need to be an Olympian swimmer to become a marine biologist? No. Do you need to know how to swim at all? I mean, it's cool if you do, like it's nice. It definitely opens up different opportunities for you, but also not really required. How much money do I make is a question I probably get like once or twice a week. I first want to put out there that I am a full-time graduate student. I do not work a real job. I just go to school, and for going to school, I make $37,000 a year. While I could work an actual job while doing school, and a lot of grad students do that, I personally just can't really function that way. Instead, I will take on like short-term internships, or I can also supplement my income by applying for different scholarships. Generally, the $37K is what's guaranteed, but on top of that, it can be anywhere between like another $10 to $15K, depending on how hard I want to work on outside things like internships or scholarships. I get asked a lot, like, why do you have to take math, physics, chemistry, etc. to be involved in marine biology or marine science? And going into marine science, you know, you're probably going to have to take like an oceanography class, physical oceanography, physics, chemical oceanography, chemistry. You'll be analyzing data, which usually is done through statistical analyses. All of these concepts that you're going to have to work with in the future are based off of the basics of general bio, general chemistry, general physics, your basic math classes, algebra, statistics, etc. that later builds into calculus, and that later builds into whatever analyses you're going to do for your own research. So yes, the classes are extremely important and they will likely be needed at some point, which is why a lot of the times they are literally prerequisites in university where you'll have to take them. Even if you may not become like a chemical oceanographer, you would still need to know at least the basics on chemistry and how chemical oceanography works in order to better understand and better communicate different scientific concepts later in your career. It's no secret that I'm a marine biologist, and I'm actually a full-time graduate student that gets a lot of questions like this about finding a job or pay. I'm currently at a conference, and at conferences there tends to be a lot of job boards or job fairs or opportunity fairs, and jobs and pay definitely vary, but here are just a few jobs that I saw listed and their associated pay. If you want to be a marine scientist, I figured I would answer like top 3 questions that I've been getting a lot lately. One, what are like realistic careers once you like study marine science or marine biology? Oh my goodness, I love this question. I think there are tons of options in both academia, government, and industry. And the ocean literally has so many things to study and explore. You could be a researcher, a scientist in many different avenues. All of the sciences have a subcategory within marine science. So you can literally study anything. This kind of goes with the last question, but what are like the job opportunities out there? And the blue economy, which is like the economy relating to like the ocean and the environment, is only growing. In 2019, the American blue economy grew faster than the nation's economy, supporting 2.4 million jobs and contributing $397 billion to the nation's gross domestic product. Another thing I get asked about a lot is about like the journey of getting into marine science and more of like my personal life, etc. You can actually go to the link in my bio, and there are a bunch of different things that I talk about: finding funding for grad school and getting into grad school, the stuff that I did when I went through to get into marine science. If that isn't helpful enough, you can also schedule a time with me to talk about more questions you may have or learn more about marine science from my perspective of like everything that I had gone through. I'll put a thing here. Yeah, click on the link in my bio. Marine science can be great because you can travel the world, you know, learn so much about the ocean. But there are also the not fun sides of marine science as well. You're in school for quite a long time, especially if you're interested in doing research. People can stay in school for literally like 10 years after they finish high school. Other negatives, you do have to have a quite strong background, I would say, in like maths and different science courses, which may not be easy for a lot of people. I definitely struggled through many of my scientific courses in undergrad. Oh, another negative for me is that a lot of career paths kind of have like a set path, where if you're interested in being like a medical doctor, you know, you go to undergrad, you go to medical school, you do a residency, and there's already a set path for what you're supposed to do to get to that point. Whereas in marine science field, there's not really a set path. You know, people take gap years in between. Sometimes people get a master's, sometimes people don't, just skip to PhD. Sometimes people do a postdoc, sometimes people don't. And then like depending on the type of research you want to do or the type of career you want to have within marine science, you may like not even need grad school as well and go straight into a career. It's just not really set in stone on how you do things, and that's kind of hard for people that like to plan and have everything like set out for their lives. And with how much time you do spend in school, it takes a minute for you to get a really good job that pays really well. There are people in government, people in academia, professors that make like well over $100,000 a year and do quite well, but it probably took them a while to get to that point. You spend the first many years of grad school really relying on fellowship money and scholarship money and side hustles. Where can you get experience to become a marine scientist or a marine biologist? Volunteering at an aquarium is helpful if you would like to do that. If you don't want to work for free, there are other options out there for you as well. I did most of my internships through NOAA, doing the NOAA Hollings or NOAA EPP MSI scholarship. They provided a scholarship throughout the year and also gave you like a 10-week long internship experience over the summers that was paid as well. We were able to get research experience for. Those are just a couple of things I had done in undergrad, but there are so many more opportunities out there. The REU website is another one for research experiences for undergrads, also paid experiences that are usually summer-long internships, so they're not interrupting your school year. And there's even programs for high schoolers, like the Hutton Fisheries Biology program. So you want to be a marine scientist. A question I get a lot is, how can I work in the clear tropical water? And to be completely transparent, this did not happen overnight for me, being able to work in the Caribbean. I had to build my skill sets in many other ways first. The school I went to in undergrad was based in Virginia, and so a lot of the stuff I did in labs and stuff are based out of the Chesapeake Bay. I did a few internships where I wasn't even doing any type of field work. I was literally sitting in the office working on reports. And while doing these internships and different experiences, there would be like other labs or potentially different PIs asking for help or volunteers to help out on certain things. And so I would always take advantage of those types of opportunities. That's how I got like a little bit more, I guess, field work experience as well. Overall, don't shut things down just because, one, it may not be field work, two, it may not be in tropical or Caribbean type of waters. Very rarely are those opportunities just like free to take and up for grabs. You kind of have to build your skill set maybe in other areas first, and from that you can bring a new perspective to other research going on in other places. So how do I make money? I talked about this before. As a full-time graduate student, I work as a graduate research assistant on campus, and the fellowship that funds that position pays like all of my tuition and a stipend as well. In addition to that, I have lab funding and funding under my fellowship that goes towards professional development and research expenses, which includes travel. But most of that stuff throughout the year, like related to academia and related to my schoolwork and research, is paid for. Do you need science and math to be a marine biologist? This is somehow one of my most asked questions. As a marine scientist or any type of scientist, yes, math and science is definitely required. I know in the moment a lot of your math classes seem like completely unnecessary, you're never going to need to know this, etc. But in the real world, once you get into the field, a lot of your work has to be analyzed and published, which requires a pretty strong math and science background. So you want to be a marine scientist, but maybe you got a degree in a completely unrelated field. One of the positive things, and I've said this a million times already, but the field of marine science is highly interdisciplinary. No matter what your degree is in, it could somehow be applied in some way towards marine science. While I don't know what your exact current degree is in, there are people that have found a way to incorporate their lifestyle into marine science. So that's one way to get into the field without feeling the need to learn like a completely different or new skill set. However, maybe you really just don't like the type of job that you're doing and you just want to completely switch over. Going back to school is definitely possible if it's an option for you. There are various programs that are e-programs or in-person programs that take students at any age, at any point in their life, to study in the field. Thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful. Definitely check out my past FAQs video if you haven't watched it already, because I might have hit some more questions in there. Also, keep an eye out because I'm literally leaving for fieldwork tomorrow. So the next video will probably be a vlog about fieldwork experience, like packing, travel day, getting there, the research, etc. So excited for that next step.